Shalom, 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 Yasha Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called, There Would Be Plenty of Work, E. There would be plenty of work, E, in captivity. There will be plenty of work, E, in captivity. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, like I said, today's lesson is going to be called, There Will Be Plenty of Work for You, E, in captivity. Okay, and this is kind of a lammy on my brother Jeremiah's video about Esau going into captivity. Okay, you have people who are saying that he's not going into captivity. Oh, he is, and there will be plenty of work for him to do. Okay, I just want to get into a couple of scriptures. Like I say, Lord's will, this is edifying. All right. First one I want to get, Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Okay. It says in the NLT, it says, Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of the Most High. You will always harvest what you plant. Okay, and what did they plant? We're talking about Esau, Edom, the Edomites, starting from those top banging families on down. Okay, Revelation 13 and verse number 9, it says, If any man have an ear, let him hear. It says, He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay, and this is, Esau and these other nations will be going into captivity. Okay, because the scriptures say, what is that? Let's see if I can get that real quick. Second Maccabees, is it 2 and 10? Or First Maccabees 2 and 10? Salakia, I think it's First Maccabees. First Maccabees 2 and 10. It says, What nation have not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Okay, because all these kingdoms have taken us into captivity. All right, but we know our number one is Esau, Edom, right? And you have people thinking that, they're not going to go in captivity, and they surely will be going into captivity, and there will be plenty of work for them to do. Okay, but let's get I just want to get a couple of scriptures on Esau's captivity. Okay, let's get because he hasn't paid for what he's done. All right, what does the scripture say? Matter of fact, we're going to go to this one right here. Let's go to Psalm, the book of Psalms, and 73. And let's see. Let's start at verse number 3, right? And we know that Esau is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. It says, For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Okay, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. All right. And that's the thing. They haven't been brought to trial for the atrocities that they have done, right? And they put us in captivity. So they will surely go in captivity, right? That's why it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go to captivity. All right. Like I say, this is just some of that strange bug out doctrine that people are pushing these days. Okay. But understand, right? He hasn't been held accountable for what he's done. And he's going to be, those charges are being added up, right? And soon enough, he's going to have to pay that tab. Okay. Let's get a couple of them. Let's get a couple more. Let's go to Isaiah 14. And I just want to kind of get to the point. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2. This is a future prophecy. All right. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel, or Yahawah, shall possess them in the land of Yahawah Bahasham for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay, this has not been done. All right, this has not been done yet, and this will be coming. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to let's go to Jeremiah. Right, Jeremiah 49, and let's go to verse number 12. Okay, it says, for thus saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup, right? What was that cup, right? Captivity, punishment, right? Curses, all this stuff, okay? Living these curses, okay? In captivity, the whole nine, all right? So it says, for thus saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Okay? Who? For I have sworn by myself, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, that Bozrah, right, aka Esau, right, Edomites, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be a perpetual waste. Okay? Because when they go into captivity, right, well, remember that Babylon's going to be desolate, right? This is modern day Bozrah, okay? This is and when we make that desolate, guess what? Everybody here in Babylon is going to be destroyed, okay? But those Edomites, right, around the world, they're going to be gathered into captivity along with the other nations, right? The other nations is not getting away either, okay? And sure in hell, Esau is going to go in captivity. He's going to go and he's going to serve his captivity. And there's going to be plenty of work for him to do. He's going to have to drink of that cup. Okay. And, let's go to Luke, right? Let's go to the book of Luke and 16. And let's go to verse number. Now, the parable, right, of the rich man and Lazarus, okay? The rich man, right, who represents Esau, Edom, right, these top banking families on down, and Lazarus, right, the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, that's what this parable is about. All right. Let's see. Just want to kind of get to the point. Let's see. Luke chapter 16 and verse number 22. It says, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom, and the rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. All right, talking about that torment, right, is that condition that he's going to be in, right? That hell is that captivity, that hardcore bondage captivity, the same that we had. Okay, he's going to have that same, it's not going to be as nasty as he was doing, right? Because, lest there be any fornicator as Esau, right? But he's going into that hardcore slavery. Okay, so it says, and in hell, right? Because that hell is that condition, right, of hardcore bondage, slavery, and it's going to be plenty of work. All right, it says, in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. Okay, because we're going to be in heaven, man. This is our heaven here on earth. All right now we're in hell under Esau's heaven. All right, and it's going to flip. And now we're going to be in heaven, okay, on earth. All right, as it is on earth as it is in heaven. All right, like the scriptures say. It says, and he cried and said, Father, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in the water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. All right, talking about that hardcore captivity. They wanted to ease up, right? But we're not easing up. It says double unto him, give unto him double according. Okay, so he's gonna get that hardcore slavery. All right, hardcore slavery. All right. So that's the point that I wanted to make with that one. Let's go to let's talk about some of the things he's gonna have to do. Matter of fact, no, I want to get one more. Let's get Jeremiah. All right. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah and 30. And let's go to verse number 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, right? So Esau and all these other nations, right? They've all had us in captivity. So it says, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Okay? Hey, what does it say? Whatsoever a man soweth, that's he also reap. The Most High is not mocked. Okay? So he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right? And like I said, Esau, right? Because I'm focusing on Esau because everybody wants to talk about Esau. Esau, this, Esau. The other nations, they go into captivity too, right? But Esau, hey, we got a lot of work for him to do, okay? And one of his special jobs that he's gonna get, right? Well, not just him, but mainly, we want, he's the one who's destroying this earth, okay? He's the one. He's the real cancer on this earth. All right, but let's go to Ezekiel 39, and let's go to verse number let's see. Let's start at let's just jump to the point, right? Verse 14. It says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment, right? You're going to have plenty of work, all right? One of your first jobs, right? It says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment passing through the land to bury with those passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months, they shall they search, and the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bones, then he shall set up a sign by it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamag. Okay, let's read it in the NLT. It says, after 7 months, teams of men will be appointed to search the land for skeletons to bury, so that the land will be made clean again. Whenever bones are found, a marker will be set up so that the burial crews, right, Esau, and these other nations, but Esau, right, I'm focusing on him, right, he has a lot of jobs, he has a lot of work that he's going to be doing. It says a marker will he set up so burial crews will take them to be buried in the valley of Gog's hordes. Okay, so one of their first jobs, right, and what they're going to be doing is burying the dead bodies, burying them carcasses that are around, okay, to cleanse the land. It's to clean up, right? You just think about it, right? You have people, somebody messes up and you got to clean it up, right? Think about it. Think about what he's done, right? In the oceans, all this stuff, man. You're going to be cleaning this stuff up, man. Okay? So one of your first jobs is going to be going around burying the dead bodies, okay? Like I said, we got plenty of work for you, E. Whole lot of work for you because you're going to captivity. And we're going to have a whole lot of work for you. All right? Let's go to Isaiah 60, okay? Isaiah 60, and let's see, verse number 10, it says, and the sons of the strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Okay. It says in the NLT, foreigners will come to build your towns, and their kings will serve you. For though I have destroyed you in my anger, I will now have mercy on you through my grace. Okay, so they're gonna be building up. They're gonna be building up the city. Oh, it's plenty of work. All right, they're not. You gotta clean up. You gotta do this work, and then you're gonna be destroyed. All right, you're not gonna escape. You're gonna have to drink of that cup, Esau. Okay, because you haven't been. You've been escaping and running from your judgment, right? You've been ducking and saying you this people, you that, hey, and now the Lord is going to bring you to justice, all right? And guess what? You're going to have time served, and then ultimately you're going to be destroyed, okay? But first, you will be going in captivity, and you will have lots of work to do. Like one of my ox said, he's going to have them just in caves, just knocking rocks out the mountain for no reason, right? Just being there all day, and on the Sabbath, hey, you get the rest. As soon as the Sabbath is over, your ass is back knocking them rocks off. All right. There's going to be plenty of work. All right. And remember that the slain of the Lord is going to be many. So there's going to be a whole lot of bodies to bury. Right. So get, make sure you get them shoulders right, and them forearms, and get that forearm straight, because you're going to be digging a lot of body. You're going to be digging a lot of holes, man, a lot of graves, right? She-hole. You're going to be digging a whole lot of she-holes. All right. So, this is just like I said, I had heard, talking about some Israelites, right? Talking about that Esau wasn't going to go in captivity, man, right? And he will surely go in captivity, all right, because the Lord has spoken it, okay? And in that captivity, he's going to have a whole lot of work to do, right? And once he's finished with his work, after that, then deletion, okay? So I just wanted to do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying, right? And wonderful news, man, to you Israelites who are waiting patiently. All right. Wonderful news. All right. It says, let's go back to it. Revelation 13 and verse number 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And hey, I got faith, right? And hey, can't wait, and I know the brothers likewise cannot wait. Okay, we got plenty of tasks and plenty of work to keep you busy, all right, in your captivity, along with you other nations, all right. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there, man. Stay diligent, stay focused, and understand, man, the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right. And we're looking forward to that. All right. And with that, we say abal babal and shalom.